Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of our ceiling installation. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, where we prep our boards and start the install, I will link it up here and you can go ahead and watch that and then come right back.
So last time you saw us, we installed basically the first part of the curve here. Now we're ready to go across the top, but we need spaces for our lights. So Emily's already gotten a little overexcited and didn't show you guys her drilling the first holes, but we'll show you how we're making space for our lights in these and how we'll connect our wires to illuminate our space.
Ooh. So for this project, we're going to be using some wire strippers, electrical tape, a sharp knife to cut back any insulation that's in our way, our LED lights, I will link the exact ones that we're using down below, some wire nuts. We're going to be using 2 different sizes depending on how many wires we're connecting, so we've got a smallish and a medium size, and a drill with a hole saw attachment that is big enough to fit your light. We'll also be using our nail gun and of course our ceiling material.
So we have our 14 gauge wire that we ran throughout the bus, which we're connecting to this kind of itty bitty, not really focusing on it, maybe, I don't know, 16 gauge wire that's coming out of these LED lights. So maybe that's a problem. Maybe it's gonna run too much current to it and it's a fire hazard, but luckily we're not hooking anything up to actual electricity for a little while. Let us know in the comments if that seems like it's gonna be a problem. Everything should be running on a 12-volt system, so hopefully these wires are just bigger than they need to be and it'll be fine, but if you think that's a problem, hit us up before we catch fire. So we got all of our negatives in here, we put them in the wire nut and stuck them all together, and then we've just wrapped tape around the bases of them to hopefully keep them together even better once they're vibrating around in our ceiling. So worst case scenario, it shouldn't be too hard to pop out our lights. They're just going to be held up by these little springs and we'll be able to fix them up if we need to, I think, but fingers and wires crossed. We'll never need to.
It's beautiful, Gavin. Oh!
Come here, friends.
Look at our lights! Ah, I can't wait to turn them on.
Yeah, that's gonna be a while.
They look very good. Do you think they look good?
Yeah, I think they look fine.
I think they look great.
Look, there's a little bit of a gap there. But you can't really see it if you're down here.
Yeah, if you're a normal person height, they look great.
Number 1 and number 2. Now just a few more to go.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark where on these boards we're going to drill our hole for our light. Okay, I'm gonna mark on these boards where we're gonna drill our hole for our bedroom light. These are the wires that we ran for our bedroom light. We're going to move them up a little bit so that this light is a little bit more centered over our bed. When we originally ran the wires, they were a little bit further back, but that's okay. We left extra, so we can just move them up a little. And the exact spot where this light goes doesn't really matter. We'll just make sure to match up our other bedroom light with it when we install the next one. So yeah, I'm gonna mark across the 2 boards just where I want to use my hole saw, and we can take these down and drill our hole. My arm's tired. Whew. A hole! Cedar.
That one's for all my fans.
It smells so good.
Hope y'all got a sniff. Okay, just to give a quick rundown of our light installation process. First, we have to shave away some of our insulation so there's room for the wires. Then the bottom 11 millimeters or so gets stripped off of the wire so that the bare copper is exposed. That we twist together to make it all nice and neat and try to make it hold together better because the bus will be vibrating. So I take each end and twist them around each of the other ends that are combining, so all the negatives, etc. And then they all go in a wire nut, and that wire nut gets twisted on to hold them all together. Give it a little tug to make sure everything is tight enough, and then we went the extra mile and wrapped some electrical tape around the whole thing so that it will hold together even better. Once that's all done, we kind of just twist it above the light, set that into the first board that we have, and then the other board can fit around it. The springs will hold them in place, and we're ready to go. Alright, so our LED lights went in really no problem. Our next challenge is going to be doing everything with the fan. So we have the wires hanging down. We originally had made a little box area here to make the connection and hide in, but we're worried that if something doesn't work, we're going to have to rip out half the ceiling to get to that space. So actually, since this piece leaves enough of a gap right here, we're going to make the connection and just kind of stick it up next to here, because once we cut this down to size, it'll sit up and we'll just need to unscrew this and it'll come off and we'll be able to access those wires if we need to. So that'll be hidden by this big lip and it'll still be accessible to us. So
Thinking ahead. Hopefully nothing goes wrong and everything works, but we don't want to rip out our ceiling if it doesn't.
Yep. And so that gives us access to those. Being able to pop these lights out gives us access to them if we really need to. Everything will have a solution someday.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Alright, I think we're going to call it a night there. We've reached our halfway point with our boards on that side. We've started cutting out spaces where our fan cover is going to go. And the next boards we run are going to be more lights. So we're going to call it there for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. So I wanted to give you guys a quick overview of how we are wiring our LED lights in our bus. This is the front of our bus. This is the back of the bus. So we have 7 lights total. These first 5 are going to be on one circuit, and that will be for our living room, kitchen lights, and then these back 2 will be on a separate circuit, and those are our bedroom lights. That way we can have, our kitchen lights on and our bedroom lights off, or vice versa, and we don't have to have all the lights on at the same time. So we decided to run our lights in parallel just based on our research. That seemed like the best option. And all that means is that all of the red or positive wires for each light connect to the positive side of our battery bank or our 12-volt distribution box. And then all of the black wires or ground wires connect to the negative side. So we've got our positive wire that's going to connect all of the positive sides of our lights, and then we've got our negative wire that will connect all of the negative sides of our lights. And so that's our first circuit for the front of the bus, and then our circuit for the back of the bus is very similar, but it's just a little simpler because there's only 2. So we'll have the positive wire connecting the positive sides of the 2 lights, and then the negative wire connecting the negative sides of the 2 lights. We are also wiring in switches. We're going to do 2-way switches so that we can have a switch in the bedroom and a switch at the front of the bus so that we can turn the bus lights on when we walk in the door, but also turn them off and on from our bedroom. I know it's a small space, but we don't want to get up and walk the 5 feet to turn them off at the front of the bus. But the switches wiring is a little bit more complicated than this, so I'm going to save that for a different video. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing a complete overview of all of our wiring. This is just our LEDs. So yeah, let's get back to installing our ceiling.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong.
That's my "we're more than halfway" dance.
Yay!
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Thank you.
You should teach me sometime.
Come on out here. Alright, step one, you say, we're more than halfway.
We're more than halfway.
And you stick your arms out, and then you put them in a circle, and then you kind of just sway back and forth.
We're more than halfway!
For those boards that just aren't quite going in as far as we want them, we're taking just a scrap piece so that I'm not banging directly on our fragile tongues, and so I'm just taking that and using it to bump us in a little farther. Yep.
We've been unplugging our nail gun to use our saw and switching our extension cords back and forth, but we just realized we have another long extension cord.
Huh?
Yay! It is beautiful. Good morning.
Hey everyone! Good morning. It's Saturday. We are this close to being done. We just need to get down this curve. We'll probably need to put little braces in like we did on the other side, but that's pretty much it for the day.
4 more rows.
We're done. But before we get too much into our reveal, this house is a mess. There's all this insulation we've been shaving off. There's tools everywhere. There's sawdust everywhere. There's nails from the nail gun on the floor. This place is a wreck.
And that's our ceiling. We are so in love with it. I think it looks amazing.
I can stand in it. This is as tall as our house is going to be, and I'm wearing my work boots, so that's good. Sometimes it takes cleaning up your ceiling stuff for us to be reminded of how nice it is, of how easy it is to make our floors look good.
Yeah.
They cleaned right up. But yeah, considering neither of us had even really used a nail gun before, we're pretty happy with how this turned out. It looks beautiful.
It's really great. And we planned on having our wonky bits be behind where the cabinets are going to go anyways, so anywhere where we think is maybe not perfect, it's going to be covered up anyways.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to perfect.
Pretty
I'm
close
just
to
saying,
perfect.
there's a couple places that
So
aren't.
now we're ready to build some walls and cabinets and electrical and water and propane stuff.
And interior decor.
All coming soon, so stay tuned. See you soon.
Thanks for watching.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.